Hello, welcome to another battle report. This is a 3,000 point match of Warhammer Fantasy between my Empire army and Anthony from the Sustainable Center's Warriors of Chaos. We use the Battleline deployment, and once again this is another match in the series of prep games we have for the Brawler's Bash tournament that's coming up this weekend down in, I believe it's North Carolina, that Anthony's going to. So ordinarily we don't play at 3,000 points, but but that's why we're doing it in this game. Here's a shot of the whole board. A common comment that we get a lot is that the boards we've been using have been pretty sparse terrain-wise. That is a conscious choice. Everybody gets one forest, one hill, and one like random piece in the center there, and then we usually put one large piece of terrain in the middle of the table. From what I understand, I'm not actually going to Brawlers, only Anthony is, but they're going to have like 100 participants, so they got to make 50 tables out of their, whatever their supplies are for terrain. I read today that they're going, they've been requesting that people lend them terrain just so that they have enough to make the tables interesting. But given the number of people and the number of tables that they're going to have to present, Anthony believes that the boards are going to be pretty sparse to the tournament, so we chose to reflect that in the setup of the table that we used. Ordinarily, we like to put in a lot of stuff like rivers or whatever, but for these games, we're trying to keep it pretty Spartan. Left to right on Anthony's table, Anthony's side of the table, we have 2 units of 5 hounds, a unit of 4 skull crushers with ensorcelled weapons, and a musician and standard. We have a big block of corn-marked, halberd-wielding chaos warriors with shields. There are 2 wizards in that block. I don't remember if they're 2 level 1s or if they're a level 2 and a level 1. I believe this is Lore of Metal and Lore of Fire. Fire is a good choice for the Chaos Warriors. It helps them deal with chaff. And the wizard on the right, the pink one, has the Skull of Catan, which lets him channel 6 additional dice per phase. So it's Anthony's hope that the skull and the addition of a 3rd wizard in his list will give him some chance for really dominant magic phases. At this point, Anthony had not received the Skull Crushers that he's making in the 2nd unit, but those 4 blank bases are another 4 Skull Crushers with Musician and Standard. We have 2 Chimeras with the 4-up regen upgrade, and then his Demon Prince, who is a level 4 of Nurgle. I believe he has a Charm Shield, a Sword of Striking, a Dragonbane Gem, Soul Feeder, and I think that's everything. He's got a 1-up armor save. He's got the Charm Shield for the first cannonball, and he's a level 4 of Death. Actually, pardon me. He's marked to Nurgle, but he's taking the Lore of Death. And then on the far right hand side, he has 2 more units of Hounds. Yeah, here's just to show the formation that Anthony's using to body check for this Demon Prince to prevent cannonballs. Now, I mean, I like to think of this as being like the furthest evolution of Anthony's strategy to keep the Demon Prince alive. I mentioned this in my last report, but I'll reiterate. Brawler's Bash has a lot of special rules that heavily emphasize the loss of general, wizards, or other character assassination type stuff. So it really is an all-in strategy for Anthony to take Demon Prince. He's 500 points, he's unbreakable, he's awesome in close combat, but if you're up against ogres, empire, dwarves, or even the new demons, he has a major liability in the form of cannons and other war machines. So the Chimeras are there to intercept, and by deploying him behind the unit of Skull Crushers, a cannonball has to kill 2 sets of monstrous creatures with at least 3 wounds before it'll penetrate, and if at any point it fails to kill a model, it'll stop, and he won't even need to use up that Charm Shield. So I think of this as being an extremely defensive deployment for the Demon Prince. Now this whole mess is both Anthony's spells and my spells. Anthony likes to pick out the spells that I roll up on my wizard so that he has an idea what to expect in the course of the game. His level 4 has Spirit Leech, Caress of Lanneth, Soul Blight, and the Fate of Juna. His level 1 has just Fireball. His level 2 was Lore of Metal and has Enchanted Blades and Searing Doom. Pretty great. I'm running a level 4 Wizard of Heavens with Ice Shard Blizzard, Curse of the Midnight Wind, Chain Lightning, and the Comet of Cassandora. Left to right on my side of the table, I have a detachment of 10 handgunners, a unit of 29 swordsmen, full command, with a level 4 to Heavens with a Dispel Scroll, and another detachment of 15 Free Company Militia. Both detachments are on the swordsmen. I have my artillery battery with a Hellblaster volley gun, a great cannon, and a master engineer who's positioned so that he can assist with both. That's 39 or 38 great swords. I think it's 38. In that unit is an Archlector with a 4-up ward, a Witch Hunter with a, I think he has a great weapon in this game, but it really doesn't matter. And then the Captain BSB who has a 4-up ward and the Iron Curse icon. There are 2 detachments off that unit, 5 skirmishing archers apiece. The Hurricanum is deployed behind it. We have 11 Inner Circle Knights with a Warrior Priest with a 1-up. The Inner Circle Knights have the Steel Standard, so they're re-rolling all 1s for charge, pursuit, overrun, and they're not affected by barding. The Steam Tank, 4 Demigryph Knights with a Musician, and on the far end I have my Pistoliers. Here's just another shot to show which spells I had. And Vanguard movements, the dogs do not have the Vanguard upgrade anymore, so it's really just the Pistoliers. Empire wins the roll to go first, and so at the top of the turn, the Pistoliers advance to pew-pew a bit on the dogs, maybe provoke a panic check. The Steam Tank generates some steam points and actually gets a pretty aggressive move. I think this is like 12 inches on 3d6 towards the center of the board. In the magic phase, I cast the Comet of Cassandora. Get the spell off irresistibly. It causes a strength 6 hit on both of my Warrior Priests and on the Wizard. The Warrior Priest in the Knight unit with the 1-up armor save makes his armor save on the strength 6 hit. The Archlector, I believe, makes his ward save, and then the Wizard Lord, the strength 6 hit fails to wound. So pretty painless miscast, and we get Comet off in the center of the board right in the middle of Anthony's advance. In the shooting phase, I fire a cannon. It hits the Skull Crushers, causes 2 wounds to 1, and does not go any further. So once again, highlighting the layers of defense here for the Demon Prince. The Pistoliers fire off some shots at the dogs. They kill 3 models. The unit panics and runs away. One of the other great cannon misfires. This is with the engineer crewing it, so that's 2 misfire dice in a row. And then it rolls the result where it can't shoot this turn or next. So here's the board going into the bottom of turn 1, Warriors of Chaos turn. The Chaos Hounds on the left here declare a charge on the Pistoliers. The Pistoliers stand and shoot and cause 2 casualties to the Hounds. The Hounds pass their leadership check, however, and do not panic. The Skull Crushers fail their frenzy check, so both units are going to declare a charge on the Pistoliers. On the right-hand side, Anthony breaks out and makes an extremely aggressive move towards my right flank. Leading the way are the 2 units of Hounds. The Skull Crushers move up, and then the Chimeras move up in formation with the Demon Prince to continue to shield him from any shooting. The Chaos Warriors and the BSB, I'm sorry, I didn't even notice this guy. Anthony has his Exalted Hero BSB on a demonic mount, and I guess I just didn't see him before, but that's the model to the left of the Chaos Warriors. I apologize for not mentioning that earlier. The Magic phase is coming up next. I guess this picture was just to show all of Anthony's movement. Anthony attempts to channel with the Skull of Catan, ends up losing a point of leadership for his trouble. At the beginning of the phase, the Comet of Cassandora crashes down. It does 10 hits to the Chaos Warriors and 8 hits on the Skull Crushers, for a grand total of like 7 wounds total pushed through because of Chaos Warriors having decent armor. Kills 1 Skull Crusher that had been previously wounded by the cannonball, and Anthony picks up a few Chaos Warriors. So not bad, especially given that I didn't have to pay any real price to get that one off. In Magic, I believe it's a relatively tame phase for Anthony. I think he Spirit Leeches with the Demon Prince, and either just doesn't roll high enough to wound me, or it's something like that, or I Dispel. In close combat here, the Skull Crushers obliterate the Pistoliers. He has kind of a hard choice to make because if the dogs don't overrun far enough, the Skullcrushers must overrun because of their frenzy. Now they're going to be stuck out of the game for at least 1 or 2 turns while they reposition and try to move back. So Anthony chooses to overrun with the dogs, but he only runs a few inches, so this is where everybody kind of comes to stop. And this is what the board looks like on the right-hand side going into turn 2 Empire. The Demigriffs declare a charge on the flank, I believe, of the Skullcrushers. It's a long charge. I don't think it's boxcars. I think it's like 10, but they don't make it. It would have been silly not to take advantage of that positioning, but nothing really, no real surprise here. The Steam Tank, though, again generates 4 steam points, rolls 3 dice, and gets like a 12 or 13 inches of movement on 3d6 right into the Chaos Warriors, which is pretty much ahead of schedule, and I'm really pleased to see that kind of movement. I don't want those Chaos Warriors anywhere near my battle line. So here's the rest of my army, sort of pivoting to face the flying Deathwing coming in. The skirmishing archers move up in front of the Skullcrushers to prevent them from charging anybody this turn. The handgunners fire on the dogs on the right-hand side, kill 4 models. However, with the Demon Prince in close proximity, the dogs pass their panic check. The Hellblaster volley gun opens up on the nearest Chimera and causes 2 wounds. In close combat, the Steam Tank comes in like the Hand of God and plows through like, what, 9 Chaos Warriors. They cause 1 wound in return, lose combat, however they are steadfast, and with the BSB right there, they hold. Going into Warriors of Chaos turn 2, Anthony declares several charges. He declares a charge with both units of Hounds and 1 of the Chimeras on the handgunners. In the order that those charges are declared, we stand and shoot on the unit of 5 Hounds and cause 2 casualties there. They pass their panic check and complete the charge, and then the Chimera, everybody passes their terror tests for all this stuff, and the Chimera gets in. The Demon Prince and the other Chimera charge the Free Company Militia, and that's going to just be a bloodbath. The Chaos Warhounds on the left-hand side move up really aggressively to start playing games with Demigriffs, and the Skullcrushers swift reform to face, and I think they might even fail their leadership check to make it, the swift reform. So that's what it looks like over here. In close combat here, the Chaos Warriors cause no wounds to the tank and take the opportunity to combat reform for additional ranks since they're going to be there for a while. In close combat, the Chimera and Hounds blow up the handgunners. The handgunners do manage to kill that 1 Hound that's not in that was not in a unit. The Chimera overruns into the Hellblaster volley gun, and the dogs overrun into the Master Engineer. The Chimera and Demon Prince kill that block down to 1 guy. However, while they were within 3 inches of the parent unit to start with, they are no longer. So that guy breaks, that last Free Company militiaman breaks, flees through the skirmishing archers in the Celestial Hurricane, pops out the back. Everybody passes their panic checks. The Demon Prince pursues and overruns into the skirmishing archers. The Chimera pursues and overruns into the block of swordsmen. So, given how aggressive and how concentrated the force was on this flank, this is pretty much to be expected. Here's the board going into the beginning of Empire turn 3. I declare a charge with the Inner Circle Knights on the Chimera and with the Greatswords on the Demon Prince. Really, the one that I'm more concerned about, given the way that these charges are positioned, is the Inner Circle Knights. So I choose to resolve them first. It's a long charge, but again, they have no barding and they have the Steel Standard, so they make it in. And we maximize on the Chimera. That's going to be 4 or 5 models, so 2 ranks of 4 or 5 Inner Circle Knights. I'm feeling really good about that. However, I can't complete a charge against the Demon Prince. So no great shakes there. He's unbreakable. It doesn't really matter that much. The Steam Tank generates 4 steam points again, spends 3 of them on grinding. It's 3d3, strength 6 impact hits. I believe I get 8. Yeah, and they all wound, and Anthony does not make any saves. So this Chaos Warrior unit is just absolutely like evaporating under the pressure of the Steam Tank. The demigriffs shuffle 4 inches or 3.5 inches or whatever it is to the right because I don't really see a win condition against this matchup. I can get those dogs and scoop up 30 points, but then I'm almost certainly going to give up 250 points to Skullcrushers on the charge. In Magic phase, I don't believe I get much off, but I do manage to get off the re-rolling failed rolls to wound on the Warrior Priest prayers for the Inner Circle Knights. I tried to get Soulfire, which is flaming attacks, which would deny the Chimera's regen, and then Strength 6 lances on the charge would deny them an armor save, but Anthony managed to dispel that. So the Knights push it, you know, they push in with, like, I think they cause like 8 wounds, 8 Strength 6 wounds to the Chimera. And since it had been previously wounded by the Hellblaster volley gun, it pops. We choose to overrun into the Chimera in contact with the Hellblaster, and based on the order with which I chose to resolve these combats, the Knights are going to get to fight again on the charge with Hatred, with the rerolls to wound. So this is one of the most glorious uses of this unit I've ever been able to really create in a single turn like this. So the Knights hit the second Chimera. Again, rerolling wounds goes a long way. Hatred goes a long way. They do like 8 or 9 wounds. Anthony passes regens basically like math says he should, and the Chimera is destroyed. At that point, we reform to face the Skullcrushers and the rest of his line. The Demon Prince kills the skirmishing archers and reforms to face the restrains and reforms or whatever, or just it's a wipeout, and faces the greatswords. Over here in the combat between the Master Engineer and the dogs cause 0 wounds to the Engineer. The Engineer then turns around and kills a dog. So it's actually a push. Nobody has a musician. He has a charge. I have a wound caused. So the Engineer holds the line against the dogs. What a badass. Totally did not expect this. I pretty much thought that was free points for Anthony. Here's the table going into Warriors of Chaos turn. The Demon Prince declares a charge on the Greatswords. The Skullcrushers declare a charge on the Skirmishing Archers to clear them out. And the Hounds move up, and the Battle Standard Bearer on Demonic Mount comes around that watchtower in the center of the table in order to toss his 2 cents in on whatever ends up happening with these demigriffs. In Warriors of Chaos combat, the 2 Hounds fail to cause a wound on the Engineer. The Engineer then kills another dog. Dog breaks, runs away. The Engineer fails to catch them, but I like to think of this as his little complete disdain for Warhounds in close combat. Skullcrushers annihilate the Skirmishing Archers and overrun. Demon Prince is challenged or issues a challenge, I don't remember which, with the unit champion for the Greatsword that kills him immediately, then proceeds to lose combat but is unbreakable. Big whoop. But, for Anthony, there's really no risk to this because this first round, I don't have Hatred because it was wasted on the dude who didn't even get a chance to swing because he died in the challenge. Going into Empire turn, the Inner Circle Knights declare a charge on the rear of the Skullcrushers and make it in. And let's see, everybody else kind of pivots. The Engineer moves back in to support the Hellblaster volley gun and the cannon. The Steam Tank goes ahead and generates 4 steam points without incident. Use 3 of them to grind on the Chaos Warrior unit, which eliminates the rest of the Warriors. The level 1 and level 2 Wizard are still in combat with the Steam Tank. In the Magic phase, I attempt to cast Ice Shard Blizzard on the Demon Prince with 2 dice. Miscast. Get the result where I cause I forget if it was small template or large template, but I cause a wound to the Wizard Lord and kill off a bunch of swordsmen. In the shooting phase, a cannonball hits the Skullcrushers and kills 1 model. At the end of close combat, the Witch Hunter challenges the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince promptly massacres him. The Inner Circle Knights blow up the Skullcrushers. However, between Skullcrusher and Juggernaut attacks, the Warrior Priest is killed. The Inner Circle Knights reform to face the 2 Wizards. So here's the board going into Warriors of Chaos turn. The The Skull Crushers declare a charge on the Demigryph Knights. The Demigryph Knights elect to flee. That puts them, roughly around where the greatswords are. The Battle Standard Bearer Exalted Hero declares a charge on them as he's still in range. They continue to flee. They're now closer to the board edge, but they're pretty far back. But they're not far enough because they're still in range for the Warhounds. The Warhounds declare a charge on the Demigryph Knights, who continue to flee and flee off the board. So, given that, I really didn't take into account the average flee distance for the Demigryphs each time. Probably should have just took my medicine and either declared a charge on the Warhounds earlier, or just stood and accepted the charge and dealt with the consequences. But yeah, so Anthony picks up about 250 victory points from that unit of 4 Demigryphs right there. In the magic phase, Anthony casts Soul Blight. However, it goes off irresistibly, does a strength 6 hit to all of his wizards, so that's 1 wound on the Demon Prince, and then 1 wound on each of the 2 remaining wizards. You can see that the Skull of Catan wizard really has been rolling a ton of 1s this game, and now he's down to leadership 3, so it's getting to the point where on a bad channel roll, Anthony could actually kill the wizard using the Skull of Catan. In the combat phase, the Demon Prince issues a challenge to the Greatswords unit. I decline. Anthony sends my BSB to the back so that I will not be able to re-roll a break check if I lose combat. I don't really, we talked about this. This is just really not a great situation for the Demon Prince period because even if the captain has been sent to the rear of the unit, just being in that unit lets them use his hold the line special rule where you roll 3d6 for leadership and discard the highest. The Greatswords are leadership 9 base with the standard of discipline. And if the Archlector stays in the front rank, then they're leadership 10, taking tests on 3d6, discard the highest. So, yeah, I have 3 ranks of standard and a battle standard. It's unlikely that Anthony will convincingly win, but it's possible the Demon Prince has a lot of attacks. He does have Ice Shard Blizzard on him, so he's only hitting on 3s instead of hitting on 2s, but Anthony rolls like 1, 1, 1, 2, and something else. So he does no wounds with the Demon Prince attacking the unit. Then for his Thunder Stomp, he rolls a 1 and fails to wound. So at this point, the frustration is starting to outpace the fun of the game, Here's a shot from the perspective of Anthony's remaining units out on that flank. He has a long charge, I believe, with for the BSB on Demonic Mount, and then I don't remember the Hounds, but I don't committing to the Hounds is just giving up combat res. The BSB going into the Greatswords is actually really dangerous because while the Demon Prince typically is a combat res monster, there's still a lot of static combat res, and there are still Greatswords with a Celestial Hurricanum there, so they're not helpless against these high weapon skill units. And if Anthony rolls poorly, then the Battle Standard Bearer will break and be instantly killed. So it is a big risk just to try and beat these stubborn Greatswords with goofy leadership rules in close combat. So I definitely understood where Anthony was coming from. Even if both the Skull Crushers and the BSB commit to that unit, everybody hits and everybody wounds with like all of their attacks, which already is leaving the realm of possibility. The Greatswords I don't think are killed to a man before the end of the game. So here's a nice little dramatic shot of the Greatswords and the Archlector leading them into combat against the Demon Prince. I just think it highlights, the win big, lose big philosophy at play here for the Warriors of Chaos. And here's the Demon Prince, just cleaning, getting ready to clean house, I guess. But yeah, no, great game. Having the Knights able to complete those two, the 2 charges in 1 round was very fortuitous on my part. That's basically all I can ever ask for from a unit of heavy cavalry like that. So good game, major victory Empire. I didn't really do the victory points. Doesn't matter. It's going to be big. So hope you guys enjoyed the battle report. This I think is probably going to be the last report for me and Anthony at 3,000 points. Brawlers Bashers this weekend. Anthony's probably not going to want to do any more Warriors of Chaos when he comes back, just from pure fatigue with the army. So expect to see. We might do a mirror match. We were supposed to do it this week, but something came up, so it didn't happen. But expect to see maybe a mirror match where he plays as Empire and I play as Warriors of Chaos, or just you know, very non win at all cost type balls to the walls lists, just to mix it up. I might be getting a game in with Mike's Ogres this weekend as well. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the battle report. Any questions, comments, leave them below. I'd love to respond. Thank you very much. Have a good one.